You know, what's the most boring document you can possibly think of? For a lot of us, it's probably a government report, right? Just pages and pages of tables, jargon, and endless numbers. But what if I told you that hidden inside one of those documents is an incredible story about a community, their land, and the food they grow? Well, that's exactly what we're going to do today. We are decoding the harvest, using this report from Southern Light Day in the Philippines to unravel a story that's hiding in plain sight. So let's just dive right in. The big question we're asking is pretty simple. What kind of story can a government form really tell? I mean, at first glance, it just looks like a bunch of data. But we're going to treat it like a puzzle, almost like a blueprint of an entire province's agricultural life, and piece this whole story together. And here it is. This is our puzzle. This is a screenshot straight from the source document. And, well, it's a lot. You've got overlapping text, columns of raw numbers. It's dense, it's confusing, and honestly, it's the kind of thing most of us would probably just close immediately. But you got to stick with me here because behind this wall of data is a surprisingly human story about a community's entire food system. Okay, so first things first, let's try to get a sense of the scale of this thing. Our first section here is all about the big picture, the harvest in numbers. We're going to pull out a few key totals from that messy document just to understand how massive this vegetable farming operation in southern Leyte province actually is. First number up, 1,893. Now that is not just a statistic. We're talking about nearly 2,000 individual people, every single one of them with their own plot of land, their own family, and their own story. And get this, they're not all working alone. The report also lists 91 farmer associations. This is huge. It shows us it's not just a bunch of individuals doing their own thing. No, this is an organized community effort, people pulling their resources, sharing what they know, and working together. So when you put those thousands of individual farmers together with dozens of organized associations, what you get is the actual backbone of a province's food supply. This is no small-time operation. It's a massive, coordinated system that feeds a whole region. All right, so now we kind of know who is doing the farming. So let's move on to the next part of the story. With all these people and all this land, what exactly are they growing? And this is where it starts to get really fascinating. This chart, which we built right from the report's numbers, gives us a fantastic bird's-eye view. Lowland vegetables, that's the biggest category with 513 farmers. But look how close root crops and spices are behind it. This paints a really clear picture of the region's diversity. This isn't just one crop dominating everything. It's a rich agricultural tapestry. Okay, let's zoom in even closer. If we look at the most popular individual crops, the data tells us another little story. Pulsatao, it's a type of long bean, is way at the top, with 404 farmers growing it. Then you've got tomato and eggplant right behind. Now, this isn't just a random list, you know? This reflects what people in the region actually eat. It tells us what sells well at the local markets and what grows best in that specific climate. Okay, so we've seen the big picture. We've seen the variety. Now we're going to do something a little radical. We are going to zoom all the way in. This next section is called The People Behind Gabi, and we are going to focus on just one single root crop to find the human story buried deep inside all these numbers. And that crop is Gabi, which you might know as Taro. It's one of the key root crops in the report, right? 89 farmers are listed as growing it. But here's the thing. The report also contains something absolutely amazing, a list of beneficiaries, a list of names.
And here they are: Rebecca P. Adobas, Victoria A. Badalon, Dalen G. Bontoc, Lucia T. Cagadas. These are not numbers. These are the names of real people, pulled directly from the pages of that document. Suddenly that data feels very, very different, doesn't it?
And of course, it's not just these four. The full list has hundreds of names spread out across all these different communities. And every single name represents a family dedicating their time and their land to growing this one crop. And that right there is the heart of it. Each name on this list represents a plot of land, a season of hard work, and a family's personal contribution to their local food system. This is the exact moment a spreadsheet stops being a spreadsheet and becomes a story. So now that we've connected the data to actual people, let's peel back one more incredible layer of this report, because it doesn't just list who grows what, it actually tracks the process. In this section, the rhythm of the season, we're going to see how these numbers can reveal the entire agricultural life cycle. So, how in the world does a report track this? Well, it breaks down crop development into these really specific stages. You can think of it like a monthly check-in, following each crop's journey from just a seed in the ground all the way to food on a plate. And here are the 4 key stages it follows. First up, newly planted. Makes sense. Then it moves into the vegetative stage. That's when it's growing leaves and stems. Reproductive is next, when it flowers or starts to fruit. And finally, of course, harvested. The entire life of a plant, told through 4 simple data points. Let's look at a real example here from the month of January. For all the lowland vegetables combined, the total area planted was 1.03 hectares. Now look at the area harvested. It's exactly the same. This simple chart just shows the beautiful symmetry of that cycle. What goes into the ground comes out. The data perfectly captures the rhythm of the work. So, we've pulled apart this report, we've found the people, we've traced the process, but the really big question is, why does any of this matter? In our last section, we're going to connect this report from the page back to the real world. And here's what it all comes down to. On one hand, you can look at this and see just a boring report, a collection of tables and numbers, or, if you know how to read it, you can see what it truly is, a community's food blueprint. It's a critical tool for planning harvests, for ensuring food security, and for actually understanding and recognizing the efforts of thousands of people. People like Rebecca, Victoria, and Dalen. And that really brings us to our final thought. We started with a document that looked completely impenetrable. And inside, we found this powerful story of people, of community, and of the food that keeps them going. It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? What other stories are hidden in the data that's all around us, just waiting for someone to decode them?